Ready, and it's going to be Lee Chong Wei to start. And the crowd will get right in. Here's the announcement.
On my right, Chong Sasaki, Japan. And my left, Lee Chong Wei, Malaysia. Logo, play.
The voice of Budi Santoso gets the first of the semi-finals underway. Straight away, Lee Chong Wei loses that first point. There's the delicate touch, the control. Joe was expecting a ball to come back to mid-court. The control of Lee Chong Wei brings it short right under the net. Nothing you can do about that. Oh, there's a killer blow again. Overhead smash right down low, right at the ankles of the young Japanese player. Couldn't do anything about that either. So Lee Chong just gets his nose in front. He has to start well. As he said, he's been sluggish and a little bit off starting in this competition. Little backhand, weak on the backhand from Lee. So it's all tied up with 2 points each. Just a little bit too long. As we showed you in the graphics that we have, you saw that in the meeting so far, Lee Chong Wei has won their 2 meetings. Tried the backhand flick again. It didn't come off for Lee Chong Wei. Looks up at the ceiling. Maybe get a bit of inspiration from up there, and he wants to change the shuttle. Not happy with that. So he's now changed that. And suddenly, the young Japanese player, 29 years of age, Sasaki, is in the lead by 4 points to 2. Great pick up the first time, but not the second time. Just going down a bit low, made it dip. Lee Chong dipped away. Created the opportunity. This is the magic of this man. That's why he's the world #1 at the moment. He creates position for himself, opens up the court, and then realizes where the space is and puts the shuttle there. Great point. One just a little bit long.
5, 4.
Wide.
5, 4.
As you can see from the early exchanges here, nothing in it between these two. They're just starting to feel each other out, but you always get the impression that Lee Chong Wei will put the Japanese player under pressure, which he's trying to do now, but good recovery. It just dropped out and went wide. Lee Chong Wei realized that his opponent was at the back court and he could maybe just chip it over the net. Tried it, but unfortunately it drifted out. Staring down the court. He left it there, and you don't offer second chances like that to Lee Chong Wei. I still think Sasaki is still just feeling his way against this man. Hasn't played him for a long time. Of course, he's seen him in plenty of action. That one just a bit too long. Went away cross court. Went from the backhand to the forehand. Going to the forehand of course, the left-hander. Sasaki. Tall young man. 171 centimeters tall. Oh, a nice cross court from him. Left-handed. Put it away to the backhand. He's grabbed a 2-point lead here. You saw Sasaki look at the umpire there because he actually thought for a second that Lee Chong Wei may have touched the net with his racket, but nothing came from Budi Santosa. That time might have been Lee Chong Wei going to the way too many times, going from the backhand, the overhead smash, just cut the top of the net. Beautiful control again by Lee Chong Wei, but that time just a little bit too long. But the first one was just a delightful little touch. Just is the replay. And that one just a little bit too long, dropped out. 10-7. Great rally here. Unlucky. Great shot from Lee Chong Wei, but the Japanese player was unlucky. He nearly got to it.
8-10.
Just couldn't flick it up enough. Got the wrist and got the racket head to it. Just couldn't get it up enough. Opportunity was there. Lee Chong Wei accepted it. Drove it straight at Sasaki's body. 9-10. And on the screen, Chong Wei is his opponent. Had a lead of a couple of points. Saw that dwindle away. Oh, yes, nice control again. Had the Japanese player going back, going to try and cover the mid court and back court. Instead, Lee Chong Wei drops it short. Again, drops it short, and we get to the mid-game break. With the world number one on your screen at the moment, just got his nose in front after struggling a little bit. He was a couple of points down, but he's come back. He leads 11 points to 10. His coach got in there to talk to him. There's the judge is in. Another point for the local Dan. Brings the applause from their home supporters, from his home supporters here. There's a man with not a worried look on his face, because he's playing very well. Just needs to step it up a tiny little bit when you're playing the world number one. And that one dropped in. Miscalculation that time by Lee Chong Wei. Thought it was going to drift out.
The crowd here inside the stadium wanted Lee Chong Wei to really drive that smash, as you can see from their expression. Instead, coolly, quite calmly, he just took a flick of the wrist and just flicked it over the top of the net. It dropped short, nowhere that Sasaki could get back. That's the skill, the delightful skill of the world number one, able to move in and kill at the vital time. Saw the opportunity, reached for the shuttle and put it away. Just a little bit short. It was nice, clever play by Sasaki, wanting to draw his man in. He was trying to bring Lee Chong Wei into the net, trying to give himself a little bit of space and an opportunity. But unfortunately, it just fell a little bit short. Just take a look at it here. Two of them having a go, and then he just flicked it across court. Thought he had the space there. He certainly had the space, but the delicate touch left him down. The crowd loved that when Lee Chong Wei goes for an overhead smash, overhead drive. Here it is. Powerful. Aimed straight at the mid-drift. Mid-drifted by Sasaki. Couldn't do an awful lot about it. Can't get out of the way when it's thundering off the end of Lee Chong Wei's racket. Dropped out. So here we have Lee Chong Wei, 3 game points away from taking the first. That one is dropped wide again. Just 2 points away for Lee Chong Wei for taking the first game of this semi-final, men's semi-final at the Malaysian Open Grand Prix Gold Tournament, coming to you live from Al Satar in Malaysia. Oh yes, he put it away. 1 point away. You can't give the man with his back to us at the moment, the man on your screen, you cannot give him half opportunities, and unfortunately, in the last couple of points, that's what Sasaki has done, and he's unfortunately paid for it. That time, it was a mistake from the racket head of Lee Chong Wei. 2012, 12-20 now as the Japanese player was served. He was trying to flick it up. Actually, I think Lee Chong Wei was hoping it was going to go out, and at the very last second he snatched at it, but just didn't have enough elevation. Oh yes, that's dropped in, and he's taken the first game 21-13 for Lee Chong Wei. Good performance, good opening for him, and I'm sure the Japanese coach will have a few things to say to his charge at the back to us now, wearing the red and facing us on our television court is the man who took that first game 21-13, Lee Chong Wei. Left by the Japanese player, thought it was going to drift out. Maybe he just miscalculated his position on the court. Thought he might have been a foot back from where he was. Let it drift. That time Lee just couldn't get enough underneath it. Show Sasaki a little bit to do here to get back into this, having lost the first game 21-13. Did well until after the mid-game break. Then he seemed to make a few unforced errors, which allowed the number one back in. That one is dropped in, drifted in. Talking about the word drift, that is one of the things that we check before. All the officials check before to see if there's any drift in the stadium. And when you hear us commentators talk about drift in the stadium, we mean that, for instance, doors opening and allowing a lot of air and wind from outside to come in. The air conditioning as well plays a part. So everybody has to make sure that there is no advantage to any of the players at one side of the net or the other. So they have to make sure that there is no drift in the stadium. I'm delighted to say there's no drift here. So both players have equality as far as the conditions are concerned. Again, Lee Chong-wei with a delicate touch, pushing it into the forehand of the left-handed Japanese player. There's a bit of a worried look on the face of the 28-year-old from Japan. That one went wide, pushed very wide by Lee. Went into the far corner where his coaches are there. And the lead coaches, there's two of them, sitting side by side. Had a few things to say to him during the mid-game break and at the end of the first game. Again, a little delicate touch leaving Sasaki down. Disappointed with himself there. It's all tied up at 3 points each. That one drifted way out. I've seen a lot of Lee Chong-wei over the last couple of years. As I say, he's a delightful man, delightful character, and very shy at times, concentrates on his game, but he's very, I suppose, in a way, critical of his own game as well as his own form, and he's expecting an awful lot of things that should happen. But sometimes he's inclined to maybe be too critical of his own performance. But how can you be critical of your own performance when you entered 13 tournaments in 2010 and you win 12 of them? Going to the backhand. That's an unfortunate shot for Sho Sasaki. When Lee plays that shot, he puts it right across his body, and the Japanese player has to reach for it and just can't get a hold of it. It was a slice by the Japanese there, Sasaki, controlled by Lee, and then once he got it across the net, we'll just watch it here, see the slice, and then the little shuffle forward by Lee Chong-wei pushes the shuttle back over the net, and no control from the Japanese player. One of the things that many of us commentators have said about sports people, and not just in badminton but in many other sports, the great champions always seem to have time, plenty of time to play their shots, whether it be golf, whether it be cricket, tennis, whatever. And the same thing applies here in badminton. This man, Lee Chong-wei, over the last 18 months while I've commentated and watched him, he always seems to have time, whereas other players have been hustled and, rushing in to take shots. He just seems to have all of the time in the world. And you can watch that for all the young players watching around the world. This man play the game of badminton. He just seems to have time and time to take his shots and to place them wherever he wants to. So basically, when he is playing, not alone are you excited about watching him, but you're also being coached. Because if you watch and learn from this man, you will learn a great deal. That's just a little bit too long. The Shaw got up underneath it, pushed it. 8-4. Crowd loved that. Of course, one of the things about watching Lee is amazing how he's able to position himself. He sets the shuttle back and forces the player to actually play the shot that he wants him to play. And you saw that in that incident there where Sasaki went straight down the middle and Lee had it cut off. He was actually thinking ahead of the Japanese player, like one of the great snooker players of the world. That one is wide as well from the racket of Lee. Great snooker players just don't hit the ball that's in front of them. They're thinking about 3 or 4 shots ahead of them. This man, Lee Chong-wei, is doing exactly the same here. And that was shown to us there in that last point, or the second last point. Downward spiral by the Japanese player, Sasaki. He trails 10-5. And that one went out from Lee Chong-wei. And I can tell you, the close-up shot of Sho Sasaki shows on his face. He was relieved at that. There he is, has a few problems. It's a big problem. His opponent on the other side of the net. Again, cross-court, going to the backhand, and that's a big game break. The number 1 in the world has taken an 11 points to 6 lead. His coach is in there.
魅力非凡，女王氣派。德興集團誠意推介女王燕，12位用1333，惠顧女王燕，同時加送極上3流優惠券，訂座熱線28101101。
聚焦宣傳強勢，進佔市場優勢。有線電視高頻率播放廣告計劃喺4大強勢業務平台中選擇其中一個，以高頻率發放你嘅廣告信息，達到至強嘅宣傳效益。廣告查詢21126888。
做咗媽咪真係日日都咁開心啊！媽咪嘅辛苦，我依家終於體會到啦。
英超激戰，只在有線。星期日晚，狼隊對西布朗，史篤城對阿仙奴，曼聯對車路士。星期一深夜，富咸對利物浦；星期二深夜，曼城對熱刺。英格蘭超級聯賽有線301高清201衛星直播，即打優惠專線1832888啦。
Putting out all
followed the stops and the shots here. His coach should have been pretty happy with him. He looked as if he was. As I said earlier in the tournament, the coaching staff and the player himself were not too happy. Just thought that Lee Chong-wei was taking a little bit easy. Remember, this is the fourth time he's appeared in the semi-finals in this tournament. Of course, he has won his tournament here, the Malaysian Open Grand Prix tournament, and of course the Super Series as well. But he wants to do well in all of the events that he enters. That one drifted out. Young Japanese player got a couple of points back since the mid-game break. I wonder if the coach has spotted anything that he could try to minimize the damage created by Lee Chong-wei. When that one dropped right on the line, so Sasaki was hoping it was going to drop out. You can see where it landed. Just take a look at it again. You get a great camera view of it. Right on the line. Great camera work there from our guys down there. That was there. The state was available. Unfortunately, wasn't able to accept it. 14-8. You see, it's hard work out there, even if you are world number one. Pressure, downward shot with a lot of power, flat shot over the middle part of the net. Japanese player didn't know how to handle it. Look at it here again. See, right down, heading down towards his knees. Very little you can do about it. You have to have very, very strong wrist to pick that back. And at the same time, being set. Had to be set to get that return. The Japanese player didn't know whether he was going down the main street or the side street. Oh, clever play. Nicely done. And the crowd appreciate that effort from the Japanese player. In the meantime, Lee Chong-wei had a word to say to his coaching staff in the corner, walked back towards them with his hand up to his mouth saying, maybe I choked a bit on that shot. Snatched at that one a little bit. I think he was caught in two minds. He didn't know whether he should gently push it back or whether he should go long and try and force it back towards where Lee was positioned. Caught in two minds. He's asked permission from Billy Santosa. He can wipe the racket down and wipe his legs down as well. A lot of perspiration. He's going to have a drink of water. That, of course, opportunity is also offered to his opponent, but you can see Lee Chong-wei doesn't want to take a break. He's right smack bang in the groove, as they say. He just wants to get on with it. He leads 16 points to 9. That one went wide, just a fraction of an inch
outside that line. He's got another point, 10-16. Yep, dropped about an inch maybe beyond the line. Got another point back. This time, Chong avails of the towel. Now he hasn't put it back correctly. Can't get anything loose on the side of the court, so Rudy points that out to Lee Chong-wei. Whether you're number one in the world or whether you're number one in the world, you have to do things correctly around the badminton court. That one is drifting wide again. So, a bit of a run here for Sho Sasaki. Won 3 points in a row. Maybe that's the first time he's done that. Helped, of course, by a couple of unforced errors from the number one. The man with the problems at the moment on your screen. Too wide, too high. Easy red by Lee Chong-wei. Leads 17-12. 4 match points away for the world number one. This young 28-year-old from Japan is not going to go down without a fight, is he? He's not going to give anything away. He's going to say, well, you're the number one, you're in the lead, but at the moment you got to fight for everything. That's exactly what he's going to make him do. Good rally here from these two guys. Oh, in the end, Sasaki out-thought his opponent, moved it across court, moved it into the backhand, short over the net, forced the mistake. And he just couldn't get it up in that position, dropping right down maybe about an inch, half an inch off the floor. There's his two coaches looking on. They don't look too worried. It's Lee Chong-wei's coaches. There's some of the VIPs who've come to enjoy the entertainment here in Al-Star, Malaysian Open Grand Prix Gold Tournament. Men's semi-final between Lee Chong-wei, Malaysian, representing his country, against Sho Sasaki from Japan. Japanese player pretty upset with himself, steps on the floor. He looked as if he had an opportunity there, shakes his head, little upset with himself, just couldn't control the shuttle. 18-14, 3 match points. That went in, but the Japanese doesn't like the call. I just wonder if we can get a slow motion shot of that again. The umpire hasn't changed his mind. Oh, it looks as if it did drop on the line. Replay shows it dropped on the line. Japanese player thought it was out. Went straight up to the umpire, Budi Santosa. Santosa says it was out. He's going to confirm with the line judge. Both of them nodded. It's out. So we're got to the situation where the man on your screen, Lee Chong-wei, is 2 points away from a place in the final of his Malaysia Open Grand Prix Gold Tournament. Is in the sense that it's his country. And that one has dropped in just 1 point away now from a place in the final. And this would be his third final. 20 points to 14 for the master, as few people call him. And he's done it pretty easy in the end. Shake a handshake for his opponent there. 21-14 in the second game. So Lee Chong-wei, the world number one, ranked number one, finds a place in the finals of his own country's tournament. A wave to the crowd here. He is adored by these people. A handshake from his two coaches over there, and a wave to the crowd. And he has brought them in. He is just one of the great sporting heroes of his country. Lee Chong-wei wins the men's semi-final 21-13, 21-14. There it's on your screen for you. So he's through to the final, the men's singles semi-final victory for Lee Chong-wei against Sasaki of Japan.